first thing I'm going to do, mate, before we get into it, I'm just going to say a big thank you to you for joining the show. And I'm also going to say a big thank you to our audience as well for tuning into this one. This is episode 482 of Presenting Champions for Simply Inspired. And today, guys, I've got a very, very special guest. I'm very, very excited to bring to you Pit Fighter World Title Challenger for Spartan, Ultimate Underground Fights fighter as well, George Fitzgerald. And today we're going to be having a chat about this man's life, his journey as a fighter in some of the absolute toughest arenas that you can get in anywhere around the world. And we're also going to be going a little bit deeper into what drives him to do this, what drives him to test himself in these extreme conditions. We're going to be talking about the different fights that he's had, past, present, and his future plans as well. So stay tuned for some great content. And like I say, champ, it really is good to have you here. I was watching your fight back, your last one for the world title with Dean. Shout out to
Yeah.
Dean. And one of the best pit fights I've ever seen. I mean that hand on heart. Absolutely. You guys just left it all in there. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, like I say, really good to have you here, mate. Top man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you for having me.
worries. No worries, my pleasure. So, yeah, I mean, obviously that fight, is quite recent at the time of this interview and everything. So, how are you feeling after it, and what are some of your reflections thinking back to the fight now, mate?
Do you know what? I feel fine now. I'm glad I didn't really come out with much damage on the fight. I had like a little bit of a bruise, but I didn't like a little bit of a black eye there, but I didn't have like no major damage sort of thing. But I wasn't too sore on losing to that fight at the end of the day. Like Ding's a fucking he's a fighter. Do you know what I mean? There's some people that are good fighters because they train, and there's some people that are born talented fighters, and he's both of them. Do you know what I mean? He was born to be a fighter, and he's trained to improve as a fighter. Like he's got all this experience. Do you know what I mean? Like he's what semi-pro boxer, ex-BK boxer, and now he's what the three-time pit fighting champion in two different weight divisions. You know what I mean? And yeah, like and just outside of the pit as well, general nice guy. So like obviously I was a bit annoyed that I lost, but I wasn't annoyed that I lost to him, if you know what I mean. Like, because again, someone with that sort of caliber in fighting, you can't be too sore on yourself from losing to someone like him. So yeah, I didn't beat myself up too much over it.
Yeah, fair play. I mean, like I say, one of the best I've ever seen. It was absolutely just non-stop action and absolutely amazing quality. I mean, that's all I can say. Absolutely top quality. So, fair
Thank you.
play to both of you, absolute warriors, and everything like that. People will want to know with Dean. I mean, have you spoke to him since, or have you had any contact with him since the fight or anything like that?
Yeah, we traded a few messages on Facebook. I just messaged him because I don't know whether you see at the end of the fight, like obviously he had the microphone and obviously he's thanking his sponsors and that, and then he gave me a big shout out like at the end of the fight, sort of thing, and like
Yeah,
you can just tell he was just a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? So I know he travelled from quite a distance as well. I know where he's from it isn't close to Carlisle. Like he still had to travel a couple of hours. So yeah, later on that night when I got back to where I was staying, I dropped him a quick message just to make sure that he got home all right, and like thank you for stepping in to the pit and giving me the opportunity to have a chance of becoming a world champion, and just saying that like good fighter he is, and do you know what I mean? Just sharing some, just like a bit of please and thank you to each other. Do you know what I mean? Just like what fighters do. Do you know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, there was no like say beef between us, but it don't matter who you are. Once you've done rounds in a pit or anything like that, you sort of grow closer to someone. Do you know what I mean? So he'd always had my respect and like nothing but good things to say about him, really. So yeah, I gave him a little message. He gave me a message back. He said because he owns his own boxing gym. So he said to me, if I ever got any fights up that way, up north, and I get there the day before, he said, you're welcome to get a few little minutes or a few little training in at my gym if you want to. So like, yeah, it was just Yeah, we've had a few words. Like again, he's nothing but good things about him. Do you know what I mean? He's a genuine gentleman. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Well, I mean, that's the way it should be in a fight game, mate.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, have a tear up, shake hands afterwards, have
yeah,
a pint together, whatever it is, swap some messages after, be mates afterwards, that type of thing. I mean, that's the way it should be. So it's really good to hear that, to be fair. Now,
yeah.
the other thing is obviously, like I say, the fight was just absolutely next level. So, I mean, in terms of the feedback you've been getting from the fans, from other fighters, from anybody who's seen it, really, I mean, what kind of feedback has been coming your way since the fight?
A lot of people said that it was a good fight. I mean, Christian, the owner of Spartan Fight Club, he narrowed down two fights on what he thought should have been fight of the night, and then he put those two fights on his page, and then he asked the fighters and the fans to decide what they think was fight of the night, and everyone voted for mine and Dean's fight, like fans and fighters. So a lot of people obviously thought it was a good fight, the best fight of the night. A lot of fighters saying like it was a good fight, like don't let it knock you back. Dings. You know what I mean? Again, he's a great fighter. He's getting better with every fight that he has. So like you gave him probably one of his toughest fights. Um, yeah, I've heard nothing but good things from other people. Do you know what I mean? Everyone in the Spartan organization, I wouldn't even say that they're fighters against each other. They're more of a family. Do you know what I mean? Like they welcome you. They're all nice, genuine people. Like I said, I'm from down London. I'm probably one of the furthest in the country away from them. But when I go up there, it's nothing but, do you know what I mean? Open arms, friendly conversations. They're just, yeah, genuine people. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't heard anything negative about the fight so far. So
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, same here. I've seen nothing but love from everything I've seen with the posts and the videos and all the stuff being out there. So, yeah, absolutely, absolutely amazing. So, okay, now one of the things, like I was saying in the intro as well, is about the mindset that it takes to do this. But that kind of leads into like why you do all this, with pit fighting and with like obviously the ultimate underground fights, which we'll talk about in a minute, similar to King of the Streets, as I understand it. I've interviewed a few of those guys. That is next level. But some of these other things you've been doing, this kind of extreme stuff. I mean, I wanted to kick things off with the world title fight because it's just happened, but I also want to get into like your motive for this, or like where it first started for you to want to do this and want to test yourself in this type of crazy next level fighting, if that makes sense. Where did it all begin for you, mate, with fighting?
well, from a young age, I've like obviously from like sort of the area that I was brought up in. Me and my brother, we it's hard to we had a good upbringing and whatnot. Like my parents, they always loved and cared for us. You know what I mean? And they always give us what they could, if you know what I mean. But me and him, we always wanted more, if you know what I mean. Like we always wanted more. We knew we couldn't like necessarily always get that. So we used to go out and do our own things when we was younger, whether they were like legit or not. So we used to do that, and we were seeing stuff when growing up and hearing stuff that happens, like the people that we was brought up around, just the environment that we was brought up around. Saw a lot of things in that, and yeah, so we were sort of like, I would say molded, but you get used to like seeing a lot of violence and whatnot growing up, and obviously we had to sort of learn how to have our own, if you know what I mean, how to just basically be ready. So we were sort of like I said, molded to that sort of that those sort of situations, and so yeah, like growing up, I was in and out of schools and whatnot. Um, we I went to schools where you go to once you've been kicked out of schools and stuff like that. So like you had kids from different areas, like the baddest kid from that area and the like the naughtiest kid from that area and kid from that area, like all went to the same school. And then obviously, when you've got all of them sort of people around each other, you sort of learn off of each other. Like you sort of become the same as each and every one. And and then yeah, just from then just getting into fights when we was younger, all that sort of stuff, seeing like again, seeing all these sort of things happen. And and then yeah, and then it got to a point where I started smoking weed to calm me down a little bit because I was sort of going off the rails a bit. So like smoking weed and I was selling drugs and whatnot. And then a few years down the line, I thought I need to stop smoking. Well, say a few years down the line, probably about 2 years ago, I need to stop doing this. I need to stop smoking. I need to stop smoking weed. I need to basically sort it out, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. And then yeah, I stopped smoking, and then as soon as I stopped smoking, probably about a few days afterwards, all of those thoughts and I sort of started feeling like how I used to feel when I was younger, if you know what I mean. Like I had like I started feeling like really angry and towards people for no reason. And then yeah, and then I was scrolling through social media, and then I come across King of the Streets. King of the Streets popped up, and then I looked at that, and then I thought that's proper caught my attention. That's something that I'd like to do. It's something if it feels like it's something that I could, because obviously I know you see how violent it is. It's quite a violent, really violent fighting platform. So I thought I could do with something like that. Obviously, I used to have a lot of fights when I was younger. I thought this looks right up my street. This could be something that can help me keep shit at bay. And then, so yeah, and then I started a boxing gym about 2 years ago. It's the first time I've ever stepped into any type of gym. Stepped into a boxing gym. Got a little bit of training in. Um, and then I realised that you can't actually apply for you can't actually get a fight on King of the Streets unless you have some sort of pro or semi-pro experience. So I thought, right, I had another look, and then I see that they had like a sister in company, like a built-on organization called UUF. So I thought, right, that might be my bridge to King of the Streets. So yeah, I applied for UUF. Didn't hear anything back from them, and then they sent something out saying that they're looking for two people to do a 2 versus 2. So then I thought, fuck it, this is my opportunity. I was like, I don't care who they pair me up with. They can sort that out. I just want to get in there and be involved. So then I applied for that. I said, yeah, I'm fully interested. Like, get me in there. I was like, as long as you find me someone, a partner to fight with, I said, I'm all game. I said, I'll jump in there. I said, I'm game for this. And then I think it was like 3 days later, they created the poster, and then I was like, all right, shit, I guess I'm fighting then. And then a couple of weeks later, I flew out to Europe, and then yeah, I had my first. It was like I've had fights before that on the streets and that, but this is my first fight of these sort of caliber. Like I've never had an amateur boxing career. I've never had I've never had a professional boxing career. Do you know what I mean? I've never even had an amateur one. Like I literally stepped in the gym about a year and a half before I got my first fight on UUF, and then yeah, had my fight on UUF, won that. Got contacted by Christian saying that he's got a fight for me in a month and a half's time. So yeah, I took that up, went there, fought for him, won that fight in the first round by knockout, and then that was end of November, I think that fight was. And then I think it was about a week after Christmas, Christian again messaged me, asking me, he said, what weight are you going to be fighting at next year? So I said 80 kilos, which is my normal fight weight. And then he said, I've got an offer for you. So I said, oh, what's that? He said, I've got a fight for you for a world title fight against Dean Hunt. So I said, yeah, I'm up for that. And he said, but the thing is, you've got to go up a weight because he's not in your weight, he's in the weight above. So I said, yeah, that'll be fine. I'll put on a couple of kilos and fight him. And then, yeah, and then that's when that come across for my fight with Dean Hunt.
Wow. That's first of all, mate. I'm gonna say a couple of things. First of all, the whole thing about like changing your circumstances and kicking a weed habit and all that stuff. Fair play. I mean, that's inspiring and that's a good message for people out there who are going through a similar thing. So the first thing I want to say is that. But the second thing I want to say is jumping in the deep end. I mean, jumping straight in there with UUF. I mean, fuck me, that is some serious business. I thought because I wasn't sure. You see, if you'd had like some pit fights before that, and then add some more, or like so that makes sense now. People are going to want to know. I know there's only so much you can say about this. By the way, I've interviewed a bunch of guys with King of the Streets and everything, so I know how it goes with, you can't say a lot. But in terms of like the atmosphere and like kind of what it's like at one of those places, we've all seen the videos and stuff. It's like next level. I mean, there's some serious guys in there. But was it like as like the arena and the whole vibe of the place and all that sort of stuff? If you get what I mean.
Do you know what? It was all right. And a lot of people have asked me this before. They said, like, were you feeling nervous or anything like that? I said, not really, because I've been in worse situations. Like I've been in worse situations. It was crazy. It was a good buzz. Do you know what I mean? Again, like I said, because it's the crowd there. It's not one of them. It's not that sort of event where you could go and buy a ticket online, or do you know what I mean? Or yeah, you go and buy a ticket online, or you go and buy a ticket on the door and get in. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone knows where the venue is, so like people can queue up. It's not like that at all. Like it's close close people only know about it to obviously the organizers and people close to obviously the fighters. And like I said, you've got a lot of boys there that are fighting, that are representing their fight club or their football firm or something like that. So it's not your average crowd. It's not like just fans of no rules fighting. The spectators, you've got like football hooligans over there. You've got street fighters and stuff like that over there. You've got other fighters that are part of his gym that he represents that are over there in the crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like serious people. Do you know what I mean? Like it's completely different to like going to watch a boxing event or going to watch a UFC fight. Do you know what I mean? Because a majority of the crowd are just fans of mixed martial arts or fans of boxing or something like that. A lot of them, they're not actual fighters themselves or involved in that themselves. You know what I mean? But no rules fight, the crowd, a majority of them are involved in that. And like like if it kicks off, it can kick off there. Do you know what I mean? But there's so much respect there because even though he's fighting against him and he's got his crowd of him and he's got his crowd of him, there's no like there's no beef or there's no tension between the two crowds because they respect him because he's representing them and he's representing them and them two are fighting on their behalf, if you know what I mean. So there's nothing but respect there. It's but like yeah, the crowd, it's crazy. It is crazy. Like you're there fighting and you've got people shouting, like obviously they want more violence, they want do this, do that, do this. Like you can hear different people like, and they're just waiting for you to do again the most violent thing that you can in the pit. They're just there waiting for it because obviously that's what they're there for. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're there to watch violence, and you're there to provide the violence.
Yeah, well, fair play, mate. That is absolute. I mean, like what you were saying earlier about, especially that being your first one as well, flying over to Europe and all of this type of stuff. Balls of steel, that is. That's all I can say. I mean, it's absolute. That's the real deal. So okay, so that's the UUF. That's Spartan and the world title fight and everything. So in terms of like what you want to do from here, I mean, obviously you're just coming off a world title fight, like we've already spoke about already. Absolutely amazing, absolute warriors, a pair of you. So, I mean, in terms of like your next steps, I'd imagine there's going to be some big opportunities for you now because, you're getting yourself out there and you're getting yourself known. So, what are your plans for like your next steps of like if there's certain people that you'd like to fight, or maybe you're just gonna wait and see who Christian, who other people bring up. But maybe King of the Streets is still a goal as well, and stuff like this. But I mean, just in terms of your future plans, what's next for you, mate? Who are you aiming for?
I haven't really got anyone specific that I want to fight really. I just want to fight the best fighters. Whoever Christian thinks is the best match for me. Yeah, I'm game. Obviously, I'm going to be there. I'm hoping I've got a fight coming up in July. I think end of July. I think I've got a fight coming up then, which I'm hoping might be like an eliminator fight for a world title, and that's back at my normal weight now. That's back at middleweight. I'm back at 80 kilos. Um, yeah, I want to sort of not clear the division, but I want to win a title at middleweight, 100%. I want to win a title at middleweight, defend it a few times, get a few more fights behind me in experience, and then jump back up to super middleweight, which I fought at last. Jump back up to there and yeah, try and right my wrongs really. Try and win a title at super middleweight and become a two weight champion.
Yeah. Well, I believe you can do it 100%. I mean, what you got to look at, mate, is how far you've come in a short time, I mean, it's like we were saying now that you haven't been doing this very long and you've already been in there for a world title. So then if you map that forward, a year or two from here kind of thing, think how far ahead you can be. I mean, how old are you now? 30,
I'm
29,
30
37?
now.
Yeah, because I
Yeah, I'm
remember you
30
said
now.
30 years Croydon, I remember you said. So yeah, I mean, so map that forward a couple of years, and 100% I believe you can be the champ. So we'll have to
Thank
do a
you.
part two when you got the belt, because
Definitely.
I mean that. I wouldn't just say it. I wouldn't just say it. I mean, you do, especially with Spartan as well, I mean, you see some people who are getting in there for different reasons, and if they win a title, it's kind of a bonus. But definitely, I believe you're on track for it. I meant to ask earlier one other thing, and I forgot. It slipped my mind basically. But in terms of Croydon and London and everything, especially with pit fighting as well, do you feel that you're putting your area on the map? Because, like you were saying earlier, I mean, there's not a lot of guys from your neck of the woods doing this. Obviously, London's got a massive fighting history, obviously, but I mean, in terms of like pit fighting, no rules fighting, all that kind of stuff, do you feel you're putting some new eyes on the sport in your area, kind of thing?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I am. Uh, do you know what? At the moment, um, Spartan is getting bigger and bigger as it goes along. I mean, up north in Yorkshire way, I know Spartan's huge. Like I think it might be like 80% or 90% of the roster of fighters is from Yorkshire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of them there. So Spartan's huge up in Yorkshire, and I mean, but Sparta's getting bigger and bigger. I mean, like we now got pay-per-view fights online. We got the documentaries going on. I mean, we just had a three-part documentary with Vice, and I've been a week before, well, the week leading up to my fight, I just done filming for a documentary with Brute, and which is like they're both huge companies, both huge media companies. So it's only going to get bigger. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, I'm hoping in the future I might put it on the map a little bit. I mean, I think Croydon's known anyway from back in the London riots, but obviously it's not known for the good things. It's only got known for the bad things. So I mean, hopefully I put it on there. We can only
I
see.
think so, mate. I think you do. Yeah, I think you do. And I mean, sorry to cut in there, but I just want to say as well, even what you were saying about, changing your ways and all that stuff earlier. I mean, you're showing people that's possible as well. And so yeah, I mean, fair play to you, mate. I hope you go right to the top because the other thing is like we're having a chat today, and you've got a very down to earth. I like the way you carry yourself as a fighter and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, fingers crossed, keep moving up the levels, and Like I say, we'll have to do a part two when you got the belts, and we'll update everyone, and have a chat with that. Maybe King of the Streets, maybe that's there down the line as well. The actual main organization, but either way, jumping in there like you did. Absolutely. That's jumping in the deep end, that is. Okay, so last couple of things and then we'll wrap up, a couple of very quick things. I don't know where you're at with this, with like sponsors or with like people helping you out, training you, or if you how much you're training yourself, or I mean some of the behind the scenes. But basically the question here is anyone you'd like to thank, anyone you'd like to give a mention to who's given you a helping hand. And maybe there's a few people, maybe there's not a lot of people, I don't know. But I just always ask this question at the end because there's some good people helping fighters sometimes, and they don't get the respect they deserve always. But like I say, I'm not sure what the situation is like with yourself personally. But is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to like that who's helped you one way or another, mate?
Yeah, I shout out my brother. I mean, he's been there since day one. When I first decided that I wanted to go down this route, there was no question like, why would you want to do that, or are you sure, or that sounds stupid. He was like, all right, when are we starting? Like, when are we starting? He wants to be. Do you know what I mean? He wants to be one of the people that are involved in my journey, like that, to help me through it. So I like to shout him out. My boxing gym as well. I mean, small holdings. Um, Again, when I first started there, I told because obviously they want to know what your intentions are when you start a boxing gym, and it's only a small gym around the corner from my house, but again they've got the boxers that come out of there, so especially the junior boxers at the moment, some of the best boxers that you'll see coming through the amateur rankings at the moment, like schoolboy champions, like do you know what I mean? London champions, some good boys there. And yeah, they wanted to know my intentions, and obviously I got to tell them the truth. I can't lie to them because otherwise they'll give me the wrong sort of training. Do you know what I mean? So I told them what my intentions were, and obviously a lot of boxing gyms, especially amateur boxing gyms, they wouldn't want someone like that fighting out of their gym because again they probably don't want anyone to tarnish the name or the reputation because my boxing gym, they've got a good reputation for the fighters that they produce and that come out of that boxing gym. But they stood by me. They said, "All right, no worries. We'll sort something out for you." Like they didn't necessarily agree with what I'm doing, but they had my back and they were there behind me, and they've like helped me go a long way, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'd like to shout out small holdings. I mean that's about it really. Like I try not to get anyone else involved in this path because again I don't think they'll understand if you know what I mean. I don't like really like to get people involved if they don't understand the process or they don't understand why I want to do it or why I'm doing it. So I try and keep them not distanced away from it, but I try not to talk about it or get them involved in the process of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, because I mean, this is the thing. From what you were saying earlier, it's quite a personal thing, and it's obviously what's the word for it? It's kind of like a healing thing for you. I mean, in a lot of ways, from my perspective of listening to it. I mean, what you were saying earlier of like working a lot of stuff out, and I totally get where you're coming from with that. But yeah, not everyone would. So I mean, it makes sense. But and that's the only other thing I'm going to say, mate. Is that what I'm going to leave you with is I also hope that you continue to find a peace, or the things that you want to feel inside of you through this, peace in the violence and all of that, because that's clearly an aspect. So all I want to say is hand on heart, at the end of the day, for you, it's obviously not just about like money and titles and being out on social media. I mean, those are all bonuses, but it's very much an inner journey kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I just hope that you find what you're looking for with that, and heal some of the traumas and everything, because everyone who does this kind of thing, they got demons one way or another. I mean, it's not something you wake up and just want to do unless you've got some demons. And so I just want to wish you good luck with that. It's not a question. I just wanted to say that, fingers crossed we'll meet again. Like I say, when you got the belts and stuff. But even if we don't, hand on heart, just want to put that across. So
I
I think that's
appreciate that.
everything. No worries, mate. No worries. I
Thank
mean,
you,
yeah,
man.
you want to find
Appreciate
peace in
it.
there because, yeah, well, you've been through a lot of heavy shit. I can feel that. I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I'm not going to go too deep here, but I am going to say this. I mean, it pretty much shows in your face. I mean, it's like I sit down and obviously I've seen pictures of you and I've seen the fights, but we sit down here and I get the vibe like, okay, this guy's a survivor. As soon as you sat down, I'm like, okay, right, that's cool. So then, obviously, but then obviously that there's a lot of trauma that comes with that, and there's a lot of. I'm not a fan of labels, but there's a lot of the PTSD type of stuff, and the processing emotions. And like I say, I don't like labels, but what you were saying earlier about the weed and stuff, and obviously, numbing that out and settling it down and all that type of thing, and what you're doing now, processing it, getting it out, working it through, in this way, even if some people look at it and think, man, that's violent. I could never do that. At the same time, I get where you're coming from of working it out. So that's why I wanted to say that, mate. And no worries at all. Um, I'm also going to say to our viewers, our listeners as well, guys, connect with George on social media. He's out there on Instagram. He's out there on Facebook. He's out there on different socials. I don't know what else you're on, mate. But the last question for you, just give your socials a mention, please, so that if people are hearing this for the first time, they can connect up with that and get involved.
Well, Facebook, obviously, it's just my name, George Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
And I think my Instagram account is George Fred Fitz 95.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people will. I mean, like I said, I've already said, I know it's not why you do it, and I know it's a different thing, but it's going to be an exciting journey from here. So if we get some more eyes on you, it all helps, and a lot of people, they're going to be hearing this for the first time. So that's why we give that a mention. But yeah, mate, like big respect to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep working up the levels, and I appreciate you doing a great job in this interview and really just speaking from your heart, which is what you've been doing. It's one thing talking about the fights, but it's a whole other thing talking about like where you come from and all that type of stuff. So I appreciate you doing that. And yeah, all I'm going to say, big love and respect, and I'm excited to see what your next steps are. And for what it's worth, I'll be cheering for you all the way, mate. 100%.
Thank you, Liam. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. You enjoy the rest of your weekend, mate, and I'll send you this as soon as it's released. I'll tag you and I'll send you the link and everything, which I'll be releasing next week, sort of Tuesday, Wednesday time, probably, and we'll go from there. But I'll keep you posted on that, and yeah, we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, mate. Top man.
And you, buddy. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Bye
Thank
now.
you.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.